Hello and welcome to the Punchline. I'm your Comicstripcritic and another year come and gone. It was a pretty crazy 2014 for me when I stop and think about it. I got to go to the Reuben Awards. I met dozens of cartoonists. I had lots of awesome guests on the show, and let's not forget, I got this awesome new place to host the show from. And as is customary for every reviewer and critic around the web this time of year, it's time to go over what was best in 2014. But since I reviewed so many webcomics this year, I thought it would be fun to add them into the mix and spice things up a little bit. So, without any further ado, I would like to present to you the top 3 webcomics of 2014 and the top 3 newspaper comics of 2014. And this year there are only 2 rules in place. I have to have actually reviewed the comic this year during the calendar year of 2014, and it has to be a comic that is still running. So even though I reviewed Calvin and Hobbes, it's not eligible. But with those ground rules out of the way, let's get right into what was best. The number 3 webcomic, XKCD. I admit I probably didn't represent XKCD's usual style when I talked about its Epic Time storyline, but this is still a comic that is all kinds of hilarious and smart. It's a comic for tech nerds by a tech nerd, and more than once I've passed XKCD around and had my coworkers and friends say, "Oh my gosh, yes, that's so true." And if you're an old fart who hates these gosh darn computers and wishes that the kids could just go back to things on paper, well then, good news everyone! There's a book by Randall Munroe where he answers scientifically ridiculous questions like a hypothetical Mythbuster, complete with the XKCD cast providing commentary. XKCD is weird, simple, smart, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Shine on, you crazy stick figure diamond. The number 3 newspaper comic, Intelligent Life. I like the characters and the premise and the artwork a ton. David Reddick's love letter to geek culture is near perfect for the modern day world of Guardians of the Galaxy and The Legend of Korra. I really do think it could be something huge and maybe even a number 1 contender, but I don't think it's quite living up to its full potential yet. And the major thing that Intelligent Life needs are storylines, as there haven't been any yet. There were a number of 2 or 3 day storylines, but those never really went anywhere or had a conclusive beginning, middle, and end. I advise the masterclasses known as Foxtrot, Retail, or this year's number 1 winner for all your educational needs. And take Intelligent Life to a whole new level of awesome. But hey, when my major complaint is I want even more of this awesome thing, then you know that we're on the right track. Like I said, this could easily be a number 1 contender. The number 2 webcomic, The Order of the Stick. It was a good year for stick figure webcomics on the show, wasn't it? This comic's strongest point is without a doubt its superb writing. Rich Brolyu's cast of characters are all very well defined, and despite being so large, are all instantly identifiable and easy to keep track of, which is a big problem in other epic stories, at least for me. I lost interest in The Wheel of Time, for example, because the cast got too large to keep track of by book 5 of 13, but being able to see the characters here is such a huge benefit. They're all well characterized and have clear personalities, and the adventures that they're put in are varied and exciting to read. And the visuals are no slouch either, even if it's all just stick figure line work. There's a surprising amount of thought put into the character color and design, making the cast identifiable at just a bare glance. And it's just received a major overhaul to take advantage of the increasing native resolution of most computers today. You can now actually tell if characters are wearing pants or shorts now. There's never been a better time to get in on the epic adventure. The number 2 newspaper comic, The Pajama Diaries. One of the few comics still worth taking time to read in my actual, physical, made-from-dead-trees local newspaper, the Kaplan family are just a lot of fun to read. The various trials and tribulations of central character Jill are strangely addicting, and that's coming from someone who doesn't share her occupation, gender, age, or religion. And perhaps it's because of all that otherness from myself that I enjoy Terry Liebensen's work so much. It's a look into a completely different life from mine. And while the themes of Judaism and motherhood are all well and good to read, it also works as just a family sitcom comic. It's one of the best family comics since Foxtrot, I'll say. Well worth picking up your time and reading. The best webcomic of 2014, Zen Pencils. It may stumble with an odd comic every once in a rare while, but when Gavin Aung-Than is on his A-game, there's almost nobody that can touch his level of power. I got rightfully called out for not mentioning some of the recurring characters, my personal favorites being the woman in love and the young inventor. These characters don't use the same source for their quotations, but if you look at all the comics they appear in, you'll usually see a very clear story arc come into play. Some work a little stronger than others, but they're all memorable in their own way, and really add to the Zen Pencils experience. Aside from those one or two little missteps, there's really not much more to say about this webcomic. It's almost too boringly perfect. I just love it to death. Every time there's a new update, I know I'm in for a visual feast, which is a very rare treat in today's comic scene. If you haven't read it yet, go check it out. It might honestly just change your life. Looking back over my potential nominees for the best newspaper comic of 2014, it was actually a pretty easy decision this year, as there was only one comic that, no joke, honest to God, delayed me editing the episode because I was so engrossed in reading it until 3 in the morning. So what is this enabler of insomnia? That would be the best newspaper comic strip of 2014, Luann. The artwork is great here, but the strongest aspect of Greg Evans' long-running comic are the characters. One commenter told me that he couldn't like the strip as much as I did, and I think I see where he's coming from in a sense. He said that Luann, the character herself, rubbed him the wrong way, and yeah, she can be a bit self-centered and immature at times, but you know what else she is? She's a teenager! A teenager going through all the same ups and downs we all did, with all the same realistic and flawed personalities that real people have. But if you really want to take a look at what hooked me into the comics so much and refused to let me go, then look no further than one of my new favorite characters, Luann's brother Brad. Talk about character evolution. He started off as a lazy fat slob of a teenager in the 1990s, but after the September 11th attacks, he was motivated to become a firefighter. That caused him to work out, buff up to the point of becoming a calendar model, and meet the woman who would eventually become his fiancée, Tony Daytona. And none of those things happened overnight. Those all took years to happen, and I was engrossed in the whole thing from start to finish. There are very few times when I see a comic as long-running as this one and still feels like it has a lot of steam left in the tank. And I certainly can't wait to see what the future holds for the DeGroot family. And so those are my winners for the best comic strips of 2014, Zen Pencils and Luann. Congratulations to Greg Evans and Gavin Aung-Than, and also to all of our other winners, Terry Levinson, Rich Burlew, David Reddick, and Randall Monroe. I had a great 2014, and I owe it to every single one of you who tunes in and watches the show. 2015 is looking like it's going to be a really good year. Until next time, I'm your comic strip critic, and I read the funny pages and search the web, looking for comics like these. Just a quick reminder that the next episode is going to be the annual Punchline mailbag episode. So if you have any questions for me, then feel free to put them down in the comments or get in touch with me on Facebook and Twitter, or just email me, comicstripcritic@gmail.com, and I'll take any and all questions that you guys have. See you next time.